due to the fact that it is unabashedly the most family-friendly of the major streaming services. Disney Plus may not be the first place that comes to mind for watching scary movies. However, due to the fact that the platform is owned by the Fox movie studio, you will find a significantly greater selection of sinister and adult-oriented films on there than you might expect. Now that we've combed through the entire Disney Plus library, we can present to you the most terrifying films that can be found in the House of Mouse. Spandex-clad superheroes, lightsabers, and squeaky-voiced rodents are not the only things you'll find over here. Feel free to dive in and have fun. Let's have a look at the 10 best horror films on Disney Plus. What lies beneath? In today's franchise-obsessed movie culture, it is basically unthinkable that Robert Zemeckis would direct a big-budget haunted house movie starring A-list actors like Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer. The film would also have to have a substantial budget. Enjoy What Lies Beneath for what it is, which is a fun and occasionally brilliant Hitchcockian suspense thriller. Despite the fact that What Lies Beneath is a solid rather than stellar ghost story, we recommend that you enjoy it for what it is. Number 9. The Sixth Sense. Spend an evening with Bruce Willis, Haley Joel Osment, and a group of restless spirits if, by some miracle, you, A, haven't already seen The Sixth Sense and, B, haven't had the movie's knockout ending spoiled for you. If this is the case, we strongly encourage you to do so. Willis portrays the role of child psychologist Malcolm Crowe, who is faced with his most challenging case to date. A statement made by a troubled young man who claims to be able to see deceased people. But despite the fact that Crowe's belief in the boy's assertions is growing stronger with each passing day, he finds that he is growing further and further apart from his wife. It's possible that the passage of time has not been as kind to The Sixth Sense as it should have been, mainly because the ending has been discussed so much. However, it is still an effective spine-chiller because it focuses more on the slow accumulation of creepiness than on gore or jump scares. Number 8. Ready or Not. Samara Weaving stars as a blushing young bride who has just been officially welcomed into the wealthy clan of her new spouse in this riotous horror comedy. When she is coerced into participating in the family's traditional wedding night ritual, however, she's playing a dangerous game of hide and seek all over their palatial mansion. This is one of the more humorous horror movies that has come out in recent years, and it is filled to the brim with dark humor, tense situations, and bloody violence. The combination of a skilled cast, a biting script, and crowd-pleasing action makes for a recipe for success. Number 7. 28 Days Later. A fresh take on the zombie apocalypse is presented in the low-budget horror film directed by Danny Boyle. Instead of slow, mindless shamblers, the zombies in this film are fast, hyper-aggressive mindless runners. Society quickly devolves into anarchy after a dangerous virus makes its way out of a biolab and rapidly spreads across the United Kingdom. Anyone who is infected by even a minute amount becomes a crazed killer in a matter of seconds, and the only thing that motivates them is the need to kill. After being in a coma for some time, the hospital patient played by Cillian Murphy wakes up in a desolate and eerily quiet version of London, and it isn't long before he learns the horrible truth for himself. Is it possible for him and a small group of people who are not infected to find sanctuary before it is too late? Number 6. The Fly. Jeff Goldblum stars as a reclusive and socially awkward scientist in the classic work of science fiction and horror directed by David Cronenberg. Goldblum has spent years working on a device that will change the world. Nearing the pinnacle of his career, he crosses paths with a reporter, played by Geena Davis, who offers to chronicle and document his journey. The two of them decided to finish the experiments together, but unfortunately, everything went horribly wrong during the process. The transformation that occurs next solidified Cronenberg's reputation as a director of disturbing body horror and incredible special effects. Number 5. Predator. If you were to take Arnold Schwarzenegger and boil him down to a platonic concept, the result would be Predator. This would be a straightforward distillation of what made up Arnold's peak performance. He acts like the goddamn American hero that he is. He grins and grimaces and grunts. He chews on a big cigar. He kills people then makes corny wisecracks. He shoots guns. He has muscles. He grins and grimaces and grunts, and his name is Arnie's. However, Predator is not only an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It is a suspenseful and occasionally quite creepy monster movie about an alien who stalks Arnold and his elite team of macho special forces operatives through the Central American jungle, picking them off one at a time in a twisted game of cat and mouse. Arnold is the protagonist of the film. It's not subtle, and it's not particularly clever, but it's not like you go into an Arnold film anticipating something along the lines of Cinema Paradiso. Just take it for what it is and enjoy your time with it. You won't be let down in any way. Number 4. The Night House. After suffering a recent and unexplained loss of her husband Owen, Rebecca Hall's character Beth has taken to spending every night in their lakeside home drinking herself to oblivion in an effort to numb the pain. But when she begins having visions that defy explanation and discovers a disturbing floor plan for the house that Owen appears to have drawn, she gets the impression that the solution to the mystery of his death may be close at hand. This taut psychological thriller checks all the right boxes, despite the fact that Disney Plus does not have a particularly strong selection of more recent horror films. It's clever, it gives you the creeps, and it shows some respect for the people who watch it. Number 3. The Woman in Black. This classic British novel was adapted into a play that ran for a long time on stage and was turned into a television movie in 1989. In 2012, the story was brought to the big screen for the second time. Daniel Radcliffe is cast in the role of a young attorney who is dispatched to a remote coastal town in order to settle the estate of a recently deceased client. A customer who resided in a spooky mansion that was encircled on all sides by even spookier marshes. Because the people in the neighborhood and the weather are so unfriendly, our protagonist makes the decision to spend some time inside the house, where he learns a tragic story about murder, vengeance, and a great deal of unexplained noises. To reveal much more would run the risk of ruining the methodical build-up of this slow, burning shocker, which successfully manages to make an old-fashioned scary story feel pleasingly contemporary. Number 2. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. This camp cult classic is a star-studded musical that celebrates both vintage horror and sci-fi movies as well as drag. Although it is not particularly scary or bloody, it is a lot of fun all the same. It was a critical and commercial failure when it was first released in the 1970s, but it gradually gained cultural significance through screenings at late night where audiences showed up in costume and participated in the on-screen action. Number 1. Alien. Alien is the best space-set horror movie ever made, not to mention one of the best horror movies full stop. It is the film that gave birth to a sprawling franchise based around its iconic titular xenomorph, and it is a masterpiece of tension and visuals with director Ridley Scott at the very top of his game at the time it was made. The crew of the commercial space hauler Nostromo, who are a great cast of normal, highly relatable characters rather than exaggerated OTT personalities, discover a strange derelict craft full of large eggs after landing on a moon in deep space to investigate a transmission from a moon after the crew of the Nostromo detect a transmission from a moon in deep space. When one of these eggs hatches, it sets off a dangerous chain reaction that we would never dream of divulging here in any way, shape, or form. However, it does involve a vicious and predatory alien that stalks its prey through the ship's corridors and vents in an attempt to kill them. Fantastic cat and mouse sci-fi stuff, and thanks to Scott's lighting mastery and the stellar production design, it looks so good for a movie that is now over 40 years old. It's a cat and mouse sci-fi story that's fantastic. So which one is your favorite? Share your feedback with us in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more.